All right, folks, welcome. My name is Jen. I'm from Golden State Times. I'm the host of the stream. And as you guys know, the president is going to be delivering a speech from the White House, from the Oval Office, once again, just like he did the last time, prime time. But before that, the president is also going to be attending a swearing-in ceremony for new immigrants becoming U.S. citizens. So immigrants are becoming naturalized, and the president is going to be there. It's going to actually take place also at the Oval Office. So it's a double feature, folks, back-to-back President Donald Trump from the Oval Office live here at Golden State Times. So if you guys can please share the live stream on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Gab, on Reddit. We are just awaiting the White House to let cameras in and allow them to start rolling. So we're going to start very soon. Please share this live stream on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Reddit. If you are part of those groups on Facebook or on Twitter or on Gab, please share this live stream on there too. All those sharing, the shares on Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that, they help out the channel immensely. So thank you so much for your continued support here at Golden State Times. Again, the president is going to be delivering a speech soon, but there is another event by the president from the Oval Office in just a few minutes. So please share this live stream. Thank you so much again for choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice. Please share the stream and I'll see you guys on the chat. Thank you. All right, folks. So if you guys are just joining us this second, we just have a quick announcement to make. The president's speech from the Oval Office is going to be starting soon. There's going to be two events happening back to back, folks. The president is going to be at a swearing-in ceremony for new immigrants, people that are becoming naturalized Americans, and the president is going to be there. That's going to take place at the Oval Office. Once that is done, the president is going to deliver his speech to the nation. So if you guys saw the president saying, hey, you know what, it just got postponed a little bit. The reason why it got postponed was because there's another event happening right before his speech. We are going to be streaming live both events, folks. Both events are going to be streamed live here at Golden State Times. That is why we're starting right now. We're preparing everything. We're making sure that the White House allows the camera guys to go in and set up. So that is what we're waiting for right now. It should start very soon. But again, it's a double feature. President Trump is going to be part of a naturalization event at the White House, at the Oval Office. After that, he is going to be delivering his speech. That is why we're starting right now. And I'll be putting something on your screen while we wait for the cameras to be set up. Thank you so much. Please let people know on the chat. That way there's no confusion. And please share this live stream on social media. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, Senator Sullivan, Congressman Turner, General Silva, and military officers, all members of the military, and distinguished guests. Thank you for joining us as we release the 2019 Missile Defense Review. Today, the number of new missile programs around the world is growing disproportionately to other capabilities. Writ large, the rest of the world is not developing new fighter and bomber aircraft. They are developing missiles. The sheer proliferation of offensive missile capabilities, more than 20 nation states today in 2019, makes this review timely and essential. Aligned with President Trump's national security strategy and nested within the National Defense Strategy and in lockstep with the Nuclear Posture Review, this threat-driven review is the latest tile in our broader national security mosaic, and we are moving out on it. America's competitors, including China and Russia, are increasing their existing missile system capabilities, adding new and sophisticated missiles to their arsenals, including hypersonic missiles and advanced cruise missiles, and integrating these more effectively into their political intimidation, anti-access, area denial efforts, and war planning. While we are forging a new path to peace on the Korean Peninsula, North Korea's missiles remain a significant concern. So do Iran's. Make no mistake, our current defense capabilities are effective for their purpose, and our competitors know it. Frustrated by our mid-course defenses, they are aggressively pursuing new technologies to circumvent today's systems. These new technologies produce new threats, and these threats are harder to see, harder to track, and harder to defeat. To our competitors, we see what you are doing, and we're taking action. The Missile Defense Review calls for necessary investment to maintain our ground and sea-based missile defenses. From more interceptors to new kill vehicles, to improved coverage of priority regions like the Indo-Pacific. At the same time, we are focused on new capabilities for new threats. This includes hypersonics, space-based sensors, and directed energy for boost phase missile intercept. It includes a policy shift towards greater integration of offensive and defensive capabilities, because missile defense necessarily includes missile offense. For decades, the U.S. led the world in hypersonics research and deliberately chose not to weaponize these systems. China and Russia have chosen differently. Our nation does not seek adversaries, but we will not ignore them either. We refuse to be bound by geography. Our new space-based sensor layer will give us persistent, timely, global awareness. These capabilities will remove adversaries' ability to coerce us or our allies and partners. Congress has wisely mandated just such a capability. Rest assured you will see this priority reflected in our upcoming budget request. We are not interested in keeping pace with the emerging threats. We want to outpace them. This requires not just defensive weapons, but a host of enabling technologies that will allow us to integrate missile defense mission across our department. Mr. President, we are ready for this task. This is the Department of Get Stuff Done. From the Missile Defense Agency to the Space Force and across the Joint Force, we're all a part of the missile defense mission now. We will work hand in hand with our industrial base, national labs, and academia. We will work with our allies and partners from Asia to the Middle East to Europe to broaden the shield. From Japanese co-development of a new interceptor to our work with NATO to counter shared missile threats. Like us, our allies and partners have recognized the threat. With us, they have and will share the burden of answering it. In a time of great power competition, we will uphold our solemn duty, just as we've done in the past. We will defend the homeland, our deployed forces, and our allies and partners. We will deter potential adversaries and create the diplomatic space to solve complicated problems. I'll close with President Kennedy's words from 1962. The greatest danger of all would be to do nothing. Today's capabilities are dramatically different, but the logic remains the same. That's why President Trump has made missile defense a top national security priority. Directing this review in the first week of his administration, along with Vice President Pence, he has elevated this issue across our government, with our allies, but most of all, in the eyes of the American people. President Trump and Congress have given DoD the necessary authorities, resources, and support to meet these challenges. And this department will not let him or the American people down. Now it is my privilege to introduce Vice President Pence.
Thank you, Acting Secretary Shanahan, Secretary Mark Elsper, Secretary Wilson, distinguished members of Congress, members of the Joint Chiefs, the leadership of the Armed Forces of the United States, and to all of you who wear the uniform of the United States of America. It is my honor to be with you here today at the Pentagon as our President unveils his vision for our renewed commitment to American missile defense. As Commander-in-Chief, President Trump has no higher priority than the safety and security of the American people. And it's frankly the greatest honor of my life to serve as Vice President to a President who cares so deeply about the men and women of our armed forces and their families. Today, along with all of you, our hearts and our prayers are with the families of the fallen American heroes who were lost in Syria yesterday, as well as those service members who were wounded. We honor their service, and we will honor the memory of the fallen. And their families and our armed forces should know their sacrifice will only steel our resolve that as we begin to bring our troops home, we will do so in a way that ensures that the remnants of ISIS will never be able to reestablish their evil and murderous caliphate. It's in that same spirit of resolve that we gather here today. Since day one of this administration, President Trump has taken decisive action to make the strongest military in the history of the world stronger still. Working with members of Congress in both parties, we're rebuilding our military, restoring the arsenal of democracy. And last year, President Trump signed the largest investment in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan, including the largest military pay raise in nearly a decade. At the President's direction, we released a national security strategy that puts America first, pursued the modernization of our nuclear arsenal, and President Trump has taken decisive action to extend American dominance on land, at sea, in air, and in cyberspace, and even called for the establishment of a sixth branch of our armed forces to ensure American dominance in space. In the last 2 years, our president has made great progress to provide for the common defense. And today, by unveiling our new strategy for missile defense, President Trump will take another critical step to ensure the safety and security of the American people and our very way of life. This president knows that the American people believe that America first begins with peace through strength. So now it is my high honor and distinct privilege to introduce your Commander-in-Chief, the 45th President of the United States of America, President Donald Trump.
Well, that's really nice. Thank you. You're only doing that because I gave you the greatest and biggest budget in our history. And I've now done it 2 times. And I hate to tell the rest of the world, but I'm about to do it 3 times. So that's the only reason you gave me such a nice welcome. Thank you very much. And thank you to Vice President Pence for that wonderful introduction. It's an honor to be at the Pentagon with so many distinguished military leaders, and I especially want to recognize our acting Defense Secretary, Patrick Shanahan. He's been fantastic, wherever you may be, Patrick. Thank you. Thank you. We were talking just as I came on. I said, Pat, I have to go now. We're talking defense, and we're also talking offense. You know, we can't forget offense either, can we? We have the finest weapons in the world, and we're ordering the finest weapons in the world that you can be sure of. We're here to present the results of my administration's missile defense review. Our goal is simple: to ensure that we can detect and destroy any missile launched against the United States anywhere, anytime, any place. As we all know, the best way to keep America safe is to keep America strong, and that's what we're doing, stronger than ever. Joining us for today's presentation are great champions of missile defense in Congress, Senator Dan Sullivan, my friend. Thank you, Dan, very much. And Representative Mike Turner. Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much. Also joining us from the Department of Defense are Acting Deputy Secretary of Defense David Norquist. David, thank you. Secretary Mark Esper. Secretary Heather Wilson. Thank you. Undersecretaries of Defense Michael Griffin, Ellen Lord, and John Rood. General Paul Selva, thank you. Thank you, General. General Mark Milley, thank you, Mark. Thank you. Thank you. And congratulations. Very importantly, congratulations. General Joseph Lengyel and General James McConville. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Before presenting the results of our missile defense review, I want to take a moment to express my deepest condolences to the families of the brave American heroes who laid down their lives yesterday in selfless service to our nation. These are great people, great, great people. We will never forget their noble and immortal sacrifice. This morning, I also would like to briefly address another matter of critical national security, the humanitarian and security crisis at our southern border. Without a strong border, America is defenseless, vulnerable, and unprotected. I also want to thank the military for helping us out during the big caravan period, but now you have more caravans forming, and they're on the way up. thousands and thousands of people. We don't know where they're from, who they are, nothing. We need strong borders. We need strong barriers and walls. Nothing else is going to work. Everyone knows it. Everybody's saying it now. It's just a question of time. This should have been done many years ago. It should have been done by really by other presidents. And it wasn't. Just like many of the other things we're doing that could have been done many years ago, whether it's our negotiations with North Korea, moving the embassy to Jerusalem. So many things were supposed to have been done many years ago, and they weren't, but we're doing them. A wall has to be built. We need security at our southern border. Drugs flow in. Tremendous percentages of the drugs coming into our country come from the southern border. We're not going to allow it to happen. And that is why our Homeland Security professionals have asked Congress for a steel barrier between the ports of entry to fund more agents, beds, medical supplies, and technology, and to close the ridiculous and dangerous immigration loopholes that no country in the world has but us. The federal government remains shut down because congressional Democrats refuse to approve border security. We're going to have border security. It's going to be tight. It's going to be strong. We're going to let people into our country gladly, but they're going to come in legally. That includes for the farmers who need help and for others. But we are going to have powerful, strong border security. While many Democrats in the House and Senate would like to make a deal, Speaker Pelosi will not let them negotiate. The party has been hijacked by the open borders fringe within the party, the radical left becoming the radical Democrats. Hopefully, Democrat lawmakers will step forward to do what is right for our country. And what's right for our country is border security at the strongest level. Stop human hijacking. Stop drugs. Stop gangs. Stop criminals. That's what we're going to do. That was my pledge, and that's what we're going to do. We're gathered together to outline the steps that we must take to upgrade and modernize America's missile defense. So important. In a time of rapidly evolving threats, we must be certain that our defensive capabilities are unrivaled and unmatched anywhere in the world. All over, foreign adversaries, competitors, and rogue regimes are steadily enhancing their missile arsenals all over. Their arsenals are getting bigger and stronger, and we're getting bigger and stronger in every way. They're increasing their lethal strike capabilities, and they're focused on developing long-range missiles that could reach targets within the United States. As president, my first duty is the defense of our country. First duty, the defense of our country. And defense has many different definitions and covers a lot of territory. I will accept nothing less for our nation than the most effective, cutting-edge missile defense systems. We have the best anywhere in the world. It's not even close. Our new strategy calls for 6 major changes in missile defense policy. First, we will prioritize the defense of the American people above all else. Our review calls for 20 new ground-based interceptors at Fort Greely, Alaska, and new radars and sensors to immediately detect foreign missiles launched against our great nation. We are committed to establishing a missile defense program that can shield every city in the United States and we will never negotiate away our right to do this. Second, we will focus on developing new technology, not just investing more money into existing systems. The world is changing, and we're going to change much faster than the rest of the world. This past Tuesday, the Iranian regime tested a space launch vehicle which failed that will provide Iran with critical information, if it didn't fail, that they could use to pursue intercontinental ballistic missile capability, and a capability actually of reaching the United States. We're not going to have that happen. The United States cannot simply build more of the same or make only incremental improvements. What we've done to Iran since I've become president is rather miraculous. I ended the horrible, weak Iran nuclear deal, and I will tell you, Iran is a much different country today than it was 2 years ago. It's not the same, and it won't be the same. And I do believe they want to talk. It is not enough to merely keep pace with our adversaries. We must outpace them at every single turn. We must pursue the advanced technology and research to guarantee that the United States is always several steps ahead of those who would do us harm. Third, we will protect the American people from all types of missile attacks. In the past, the United States lacked a comprehensive strategy for missile defense that extended beyond ballistic missiles. Under our plan, that will change. The U.S. will now adjust its posture to also defend against any missile strikes, including cruise and hypersonic missiles. And we are, by the way, very advanced also on hypersonic technology and missiles. We will always be at the forefront of everything. Fourth, we will recognize that space is a new warfighting domain, with the Space Force leading the way. My upcoming budget will invest in a space-based missile defense layer. It's new technology. It's ultimately going to be a very, very big part of our defense and obviously of our offense. The system will be monitored, and we will terminate any missile launches from hostile powers or even from powers that make a mistake. It won't happen, regardless of the missile type or geographic origins of the attack. We will ensure that enemy missiles find no sanctuary on Earth or in the skies above. This is the direction that I'm heading. We have some very bad players out there, and we're a good player, but we can be far worse than anybody if need be. I've always known, and I've watched and I've seen, the stronger you are, the less you will need whatever that strength may be. Fifth, we will remove bureaucratic obstacles to dramatically speed up the acquisition and deployment of the new technology. And sixth, we will insist on fair burden sharing with our allies. I've made it clear we are protecting many, many wealthy countries. One country, they said, has an unsustainable cash flow. In other words, they make so much money they don't know what to do with it. I said, send it our way. We're protecting you. Send it our way. We protect all of these wealthy countries, which I'm very honored to do. but many of them are so wealthy they can easily pay us the cost of this protection. So you'll see big changes taking place. And we've had great talks with countries, friendly talks. One of them said, Mr. President, yes, we will work with you. But for 30 years, nobody's ever asked. I said, now we're asking. Took a long time. I said, now we're asking. And that allows us to spend much more money than these incredible budgets where it's just money going out and not coming back. So wealthy countries that we're protecting are all under notice and all cooperating very nicely. I would say they probably liked other presidents more than me, but that's okay. I don't blame them. I would too. There was a recent poll in Europe. The original poll, when I first ran, I was one of the most popular people in the world. And now they said he's not popular in Europe. I shouldn't be, because I'm asking them to step up. You have countries paying less than 1% in NATO. Last year, I raised $44 billion more by saying, I'm sorry, you have to step up. The year before that, my first year, so I was just getting started, I raised $24 billion with one meeting. And until that, it was just going down. It was going down. For 15 years, it was just going down. The numbers going into NATO. And this year will also have a good year. They're starting to step up. Very unfair when Germany pays 1% and we're paying 4.3% of a much larger GDP. We cannot be the fools.
All right, folks. So we have some breaking news coming right now. There's a lot of people that are saying that the president, what he's going to do is he's going to offer something in return for border security and for funding for the wall. Now, there is some people within the administration that I have heard from some other people that they are looking at something called the Bridge Act. If you don't know what the Bridge Act is, that stands for Bar Removal of Individuals Who Dream and Grow Our Economy. So that's what they called it. This was actually put in by Lindsey Graham and another Democrat earlier. I'm sorry. It was like almost 2 years ago now. So it was introduced by Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina, and Dick Durbin, Democrat of Illinois. So this is a deal that the president could put on the table. Obviously, no one knows other than the president what he's really going to say in just a few minutes. But this is something that a lot of Republicans, including Lindsey Graham, has told the president that it will be a good idea for, you know, as an incentive for the Democrats to finally open up the government. And again, this was introduced by Lindsey Graham in 2017. So I started looking into it and I said, hey, what is this Bridge Act? What would happen if the Bridge Act is actually implemented? If President Trump says, you know what, I'm willing to pass the Bridge Act in exchange for funding for the wall, over $5 billion for the wall, and we'll open up the government. And then we'll start our going back and forth on legal migration. So it says, what would the Bridge Act do if it was actually enacted? And it says the Bridge Act would make it possible for people who meet certain requirements to apply for and receive provisional protected presence or protective status and work authorization. So a work permit, not a green card, not path to citizenship, is just a provisional protective status and work authorization, which a lot of migrants do have that. They're allowed to work in the United States, but they can't buy or do anything like that. They can't buy property. They can't do or ask for government resources of any kind. They are just allowed to work here and to live here while they're working. That is what work authorization is. It says that, however, an approved applicant's provisional protective presence and work authorization would be valid only from the time the person received it until the point of time that is 3 years after the Bridge Act is enacted. So it's very, very temporary, 3 years. So if the Democrats say, fine, we'll take the Bridge Act for the border wall funding, those people that are going to be protected are only protected for 3 years, and that's it. So in President Trump's either first or second term, first year or second year of his second term, he will be able to cancel it, and that's it when it comes to the Bridge Act. So the Bridge Act is not something that is permanent. The Bridge Act is not something that is going to be for the long term. It's very, very short term, but it's something that the president can use to his advantage in order for him to get border funding, to get more money for Border Patrol and immigration services. It says people who already have DACA. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back. The requirements that people need to have is basically the same requirements for DACA under the program that was created in 2012. People who already have DACA will be deemed to have provisional protective presence until the DACA expiration date. And then they will be eligible to apply affirmatively for a provisional protected presence. So DACA recipients will get off of DACA and will go on to this called the Bridge Act. It says the Bridge Bill would also impose restrictions on sharing of information in DACA and provisional protective presence, applications with U.S. Immigration Services and U.S. Custom Protection for purpose of immigration enforcement. So all of their information will be put onto rolls, and those rolls will have ICE and CBP will be able to have access to those rolls. It says, is the Bridge Act the same as the DREAM Act? No, the DREAM Act did not pass. The DREAM Act did not pass with Congress voting on it in 2011 and has not been reintroduced ever since. The DREAM Act would have permitted certain immigrants who grew up in the U.S. to obtain temporary legal status and eventually apply and obtain permanent legal status and maybe even U.S. citizenship. To be eligible, they would have to meet certain education-related requirements or have served in the U.S. military. So that was the DACA or the DREAM Act. The Bridge Act would not provide a pathway to U.S. citizenship. The Bridge Act, again, will not, absolutely not provide a pathway to citizenship. It would only allow people who are eligible for or who have already have DACA to receive work authorization and provisional protective presence for more, at most, 3 years. Now, could those people renew? Yes, but it will be a lot more restricted. It will be a lot more tedious to go through the process and be able to get a second extension for the Bridge Act. So it says, why is the Bridge Act bill being introduced? Members of Congress from both parties recognize the positive impact, according to Rhino Republicans, of having these people put onto some type of protective status so they can pay their taxes just like everybody else. That's basically what they're saying. Who would be eligible for protection under this so-called Bridge Bill, the Bridge Act? To be eligible for provisional protective presence under the Bridge Act, a person would have to, 1, be at least 15 years or older when they apply, but a person younger than 15 could apply if they were in removal proceedings or had their final removal or withdraw as a voluntary departure before the Bridge Act is introduced. So a person that would qualify for this will have to be 15 years or older, or if it's a 15-year or younger person, they would have to already have a letter of deportation, or they would have to by themselves get out of the country. So they will be able to qualify that way. Also, the second thing, in order to qualify for the Bridge Act, have been born after June 15th, 1981. So that will make you a little bit less than 40 years old. It says, number 3, have come to the U.S. before their 16th birthday. So they were supposed to be here before the age of 16. And they have to be under the age of 40 as of right now. What's the other thing? Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Number 4, have lived continuously in the U.S. since June 15th, 2007. So basically the same thing as DACA or the DREAM Act. Another one says, have continuously resided in the U.S. from June 15, 2007 until the date of filing of an application under the Bridge Act, except for traveling using advanced parole. Meaning if one of these people left and then somehow they came back, they're no longer qualified. So they have to, again, be here since June the 15th, 2007, have to be more than 15 years old at the time, and also have to have been born after June 15th, 1981. Okay, so it says, the next one says, not to have a lawful immigration status as of June 15th, 2012. So if they were in any process on or before June 15th, 2012, that disqualifies them from the Bridge Act. At the time of filing an application under the Bridge Act, be currently in school or in an educational program aimed to obtain a high school diploma, pass a general education development program, such as known as a GED, or other state authorized exam. At the time of applying, have graduated or obtained a certificate of completion from high school, have obtained a general education or GED certificate, or be an honorably discharged veteran from the Coast Guard or U.S. Armed Forces. And in the last one, not have been convicted of a felony offense, a significant misdemeanor, or 3 or more misdemeanor offenses, or been deemed a posed threat to national security or public safety. So if one of these people that want to get protected by the Bridge Act have a DUI, if they have a DUI, disqualified. If they have more than 3 misdemeanors, disqualified. If they have a substantial misdemeanor, which will be petty larceny or stealing or anything like that, that would disqualify them. The only difference from right now to before is that President Trump will enforce these rules compared to Obama that had these rules and looked the other way. President Trump will not look the other way. He will try to make these qualifications as strict as he possibly can to make sure that no one sifts through, that no one gets through the rules, the process. Nobody that is a threat to society and threat to the United States gets through. So this is something that the president has to his disposal. That is the reason why Lindsey Graham was at the White House a few days ago. So it could happen that the president is going to use the Bridge Act in order to facilitate the negotiation process going on right now between the White House and the Democrats. But we'll have to see. We do not know. Nobody knows. Even people that think they know don't know. The only one that knows what he's really going to do is the president. And that's the reason why we're waiting right now for the president to come up. Now, as you guys see on your screen, it says Trump double feature today. And what that means is that President Trump is going to host a swearing-in ceremony for new legal migrants becoming naturalized Americans. So there is a naturalization event happening at the Oval Office in just a few minutes. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. We'll also like to give a couple thank yous and shout outs to Patriots that are sharing our live stream on social media. If you haven't yet, please share this stream on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Reddit. Any of those social media sites would be amazing. And again, we're just getting everything ready for you folks so we can show you everything from beginning to end. It should start very soon. Again, it's a double feature today, folks. One event after the other. The president is going to be there at the swearing-in ceremony. And then after that, right after that, the president is going to deliver a speech to the American people regarding what he believes will help the government open once again. So let me just do this real quick and see how many Patriots are sharing our live stream, and then we'll go on from there as we're waiting for footage inside the White House. The White House usually does not allow cameras to roll into until they say so. So that's the reason why sometimes it takes a little bit longer and stuff like that. But don't worry, you will not miss anything. Double feature here at Golden State Times. All right, so we are starting with Julie. Thank you so much, Julie, for sharing the live stream on social media. Let's see, who else do we have on here, folks? We have VLC Truth Seeker. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Tony, thank you so much, Tony, for sharing the live stream twice. Thank you so much. Summer, thank you so much, Summer, for sharing the live stream on social media. Wilfredo, thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. You're amazing. Let's see who else we have on here, folks. We have Steve Bennett, and we also have Kim. We have Ghost. Let's see who else do we have on here, folks. We have Ghost. We have Dora Mayer. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Okay, so we'll be giving out more shout outs in just a few minutes, folks. Again, we're setting up, we're making sure that all the cameras are set up. We're making sure that everything is good. The White House tells us when we're allowed to start transmitting footage. So it should start very soon. Thank you so much for choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice. And again, President Trump double feature today. Let me know what you guys think about this Bridge Act. Is it a good idea for President Trump to trade this Bridge Act for border wall funding and opening up the government? Do you think it's a good idea? Press 1. If you think it's a very bad idea, these people shouldn't be protected, then press 2 on the chat. Thank you so much. Again, please share this live stream. Thank you.
It's such a great song, we should just let it play, right? We had a little luck with that song. And he's terrific. Good supporter. We appreciate it. We really appreciate this, too. I know you have a record crowd. That's nice. It's always nice to set records. And I want to thank Sonny. And he's setting records. We're setting records together for farmers and for agriculture. We've had so many good weeks and good days, and it's only going to get better because we're doing trade deals that are going to get you so much business, you're not even going to believe it. Your problem will be, what do? We need more acreage immediately. We've got to plant. But I will say we are doing some things with trade that are going to have a tremendous impact. You're going to be doing business with Canada. You're going to be doing business with places where it was very, very difficult to do business. It was very unfair, and a lot of great things are going to happen. So I want to really thank everybody here, and I want to congratulate a very, very good and exciting football team that I watched yesterday, the New Orleans Saints. You know, I can see there's a little group over here. I know who I'm talking to. The rest of the room's going like, yeah, I don't want to talk about that. But you have to say Drew Brees, he's one hell of a quarterback, and that was a tremendous game. And so congratulations to the folks from this area and from this great state. It's a great state. I'm thrilled to be here in a state that I've had a lot of luck with, and I love a lot of people in this state. I know a lot of people for really a truly historic occasion. This is the 100th annual convention of the American Farm Bureau Federation, 100 exactly. If it was 99, although I was here for 99 too, I have to be honest, right? I like the farmers. What can I do? I like farmers. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. For 100 years, this organization has faithfully represented the men and women who are the backbone of our country, truly. Let us all show our appreciation for a very dear friend and a leader, a great leader, Zippy Duval. Where's Zippy? Zippy. Where is Zippy? What a job he does. He only called about 100 times to make sure I'm coming. Thank you, Zippy. Great job. On this special anniversary, we gathered to celebrate America's proud farming heritage. Through your sweat, through all of your work, the strength of your hands and the faith in your hearts, the American farmer feeds and fuels and sustains our nation. So true. We're joined today by Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards. Thank you, Governor, for being here. Thank you, John Bel. Thank you. Along with many members of Congress who are true champions of American agriculture. He knows more about health care than anybody, and he's somebody that he's really helped us out in so many different ways, and he's yours, Senator Bill Cassidy. Bill, thank you very much, Bill. Appreciate it. A woman who had a tremendous victory. She came in for a short period of time. She was appointed, and it's always hard when you're appointed. If you look, I don't know about this, Cindy, but you take a look. They don't do too well. You did very well. You won in an incredible state, Mississippi. Cindy Hyde-Smith, thank you. That was a great win. A brilliant guy. He's very deceiving. My wife said, I love watching him on television. And I said, who? John Kennedy. I said, John Kennedy? I don't know. But, you know, I thought maybe she was talking about the other John Kennedy. She was talking, this is a man who was totally brilliant. You know, I don't know if you know what this means, Oxford, right? Went to Oxford. Oxford's I'm very much into the world of schools. Oxford, you have to be very, very smart to go to Oxford. And he's very smart. He also loves this state. He loves the people. We gave a rally the night before he won that was incredible. And I looked at that crowd. We had to have 40,000 people or more at a hangar, an airport hangar. I said, you know, John Kennedy, you're going to win. And he won big. And he's my friend, John Kennedy. Thank you, John. Oxford John. Great. Congressman Ralph Abraham. Thank you, Congressman. Where are you, Congressman? Great job you do. He does a great job. Congressman Garrett Graves. And you know Garrett. Thank you, Garrett. Good job. Young, strong, smart. Got a lot of good politicians down here. And a legend from Louisiana. A man who's got a lot of courage. He was playing second base, and it didn't work out so well for him that day. But I have never seen anybody with more strength and really more courage than Steve Scalise. Steve Scalise. He got hit hard. He never even thought about quitting. I was there the night in his hospital, and they didn't think he was going to make it. And I looked at him. He wasn't looking too good. I have to tell you, the first time I'm telling you this, Steve, you weren't looking too sharp. And his wife loves him because she was a mess. She had tears pouring down. I'll tell you a couple of these little facts. Your family loves you, Steve. But all of a sudden, he started making a little progress, a little more, worked so hard. And then a few months ago, he was in a baseball game. And it was the Republicans against the Democrats. He's playing second base. And he didn't have great mobility, to be honest. In other words, moving like a foot to his right, a foot to the left, that was about it. And he gets the first pitch of the game. This is in a stadium, and a lot of people watching, and it's on television. And they put him at second base for one play. And the first hit is a smash ground ball hit at Steve. And I'm pretty good at this stuff. I look, I say, oh, that's going right to second base. It went right in him, right at him. He bent down, stopped that ball, threw it to first. The place went crazy. And he then walked off the field in great triumph. Who could have done that but my Steve, right? That was incredible. That was incredible. He's a courageous guy. He's a great guy. He's also a really fine person. So Steve Scalise, what you've been through, Steve, is incredible. And congratulations. Incredible job. As you all know, there's currently a tremendous humanitarian and security crisis at our southern border. It's tremendous. It's been there for years. It's been there for decades. But because of what we're doing and because of how well our country is doing, and please sit down, please. I'm just looking. And then the media, the fake news, they'll say, he got no standing ovations. You know why? Because everybody stayed standing. Where do you see that? It's true. Oh, they'll do it. They'll figure something out. That's true. That's true. That's true. They can figure it out. They can take the best thing. I go home, I say, darling, I did such a great job. Wait till you see the news tomorrow on something. North Korea, China, we're doing great in trade deal. China, this, that. They can make anything you do look bad. But I was watching as you're standing, and I said, you know, if they sit, It's probably better for me, because every once in a while they'll stand. The other way they'll say, the crowd did not appreciate him. They didn't give him one standing ovation. Anyway, thank you very much. Women and children are being ruthlessly exploited at our southern border by vicious coyotes. Who would think of this? Human traffickers. Now, when you hear the words human traffickers, you think about 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. You wouldn't think. It's worse today in the world, there's a world problem, than it's ever been. And the reason it's worse is because of the internet. They target young women. They target young children. The internet. And they come in through our southern border into our country. And they'll have women taped their mouths with duct tape, with electrical tape. They tape their face, their hair, their hands behind their back, their legs. They put them in the back seat of cars and vans. And they don't come in through your port of entry, because you'd see them. You couldn't do that. They come in through our border where we don't have any barriers or walls. And they drive right in, and they have no problems. And we'll get that stopped. We're going to have a wall. We're going to have a barrier. We're going to have something that's going to be very strong. One of the most important things. And I built a lot of wall. You saw it the other day. They kept saying, you didn't build wall. I said, built wall. So I actually decided I better put a picture on it, you see. But we built a lot more than that. And we renovated a lot of pretty good stuff that we made good again. It was in very bad shape. But we've done a lot. We want to finish it. Because, you can't have openings. Because if you have an opening, they go here and they just sort of go over this way. They find the open spot. They come in. And we have to build what we have to build, probably a total of 550 miles, including the renovations. And we've done a lot of work. People don't talk about it. I don't talk about it, because until we're finished, the big thing is we have to get it done. And we've had great support from John, your senator, Bill, your senator, from everybody. We've had tremendous. Steve is working hard in the House. Your congressmen are working really hard, because it's common sense. What we're talking about is common sense. Last month alone, 20,000 migrant children were illegally brought across our borders. 20,000. 1 in 3 women are sexually assaulted on the journey up from Honduras or Guatemala or El Salvador. Think of that. Think of that. Hard to believe. Vast quantities of lethal narcotics are being smuggled across the border. Most of the drugs coming into our country come in through the southern border. And much of it comes through areas that are not your portals, including meth and cocaine and heroin and fentanyl. Heroin alone, if you look at the heroin epidemic, it's an epidemic. Heroin alone kills 300 Americans a week. And 90% of it, at least, crosses our southern border, comes in through our southern border. And I've spent a lot of time with Secret Service and with Border Patrol and ICE, incredible people. And they show me the methods that they use, how they hide it. They put it in hubcaps. They put it in engines. They put it in areas you wouldn't. They're brilliant in many ways. They're brilliant. You wouldn't even think of what they do to get things in. And we can stop it. But we can't stop it if we're going to play politics. And the numbers you're talking about are peanuts compared. You'll make the money back numerous times a year. In 2017, drugs killed over 70,000 of our fellow citizens. Just think of that. That's like a football stadium loaded up. And imposed costs on our society in excess of $700 billion. In the last 2 years, ICE officers arrested 266,000 illegal aliens. Think of that. With criminal records, including 100,000 assaults, 30,000 sex crimes, and 4,000 violent murders or killings. The crisis of illegal immigration impacts all Americans, threatening public safety, overwhelming public resources, straining our local schools and hospitals, undermining U.S. workers, and claiming countless innocent lives. And I will tell you, I want people to come into our country, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in through a process. Thank you. As president, the defense of our nation is my highest and most important duty. And this is the defense of our nation, just like we prepare for other nations that you think more traditionally is what that sentence refers to. When it comes to keeping the American people safe, I will never, ever back down. I didn't need this fight. This is a rough fight. We're dealing against people who think that if they can stop me from building the wall, again, we've already done a lot of work, but they think that's a good thing for 2020 because they're not going to win. They think if they can stop me from building the wall, that's good. This is the reason why they don't want the wall built, because they all know it works. They all approved it numerous times. I mean, Chuck Schumer had his hand up every time this would come up. The senators know this. They're only doing this because of the 2020 election. Because I said I'll build the wall, and I'm going to build the wall, and it's only one of many things that I promised. I mean, if you look at got you the biggest tax cut beyond the Ronald Reagan tax cuts, ANWR, getting rid of the individual mandate, the biggest cuts in regulations in the history of our country, and we're going further. That might be the biggest reason that our country is doing so much better than other countries and why we're doing so well. But they view this as a political thing because this was one of the big things I said we're going to do tax cuts, we're going to do we're going to do, and you know, we've done most of what we said. That's a lot of news back there. One of the folks back there said that he's actually done more than he promised. It's true. I have actually done more than I promised. We've done a lot, even with the veterans. A lot of veterans in Louisiana. We got Veterans Choice. We got Veterans Choice approved, which is pretty amazing. They've been trying to get that for years and years, decades and decades. And we got accountability, VA accountability. When you had somebody treating our veterans horribly, you couldn't do anything. You couldn't fire them. Whether it's unions or whether it's civil service or whatever it may have been, but for decades and decades, somebody could do anything they wanted. They can steal, they could abuse our veterans, they can be sadists, they can do whatever they want. You couldn't fire them. And I got accountability approved. Everyone said you couldn't get that. Too much power against it. We got it done, and now we can say, Jim, you're fired. Get out of here. We don't want you taking care of our veterans. That was a big thing. A lot of help from those people. So we got a lot done, but they view the wall as being a big item that if I don't do it, you know, it's a negative. It's a negative. And I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm doing it because we have to do it. It's common sense. We have to do it. If you look at the caravans coming up, if you look at what's going on, you take a look. If we didn't have some of those walls, the military has been incredible. They came up and they built some barriers. They kept thousands and thousands of people from overrunning various sections of our country. We've done a great job at the border, but we need that we need that barrier because you can't do this. You can have all the people you want dressed in military. You can have ICE. You can have Border Patrol. If you don't have that barrier, there's not a thing you can do. You know, they all say we like technology. I like technology too. But we can have all the drones in the world flying around. We can have all the sensors in the world. But if you don't have a strong steel or concrete barrier, there's no way you're going to stop these people from rushing. Last week, we have no idea who they are. And you got some, I'm sure, very good ones, but you got some real bad ones. Last week, I traveled to McAllen, Texas, to tour the border and meet with the heroes of ICE and Border Patrol. These great patriots made clear what they need from Congress and to end this terrible crisis. And we will end it. We will end it. You know, when we have proper security, people aren't going to come. except for the people we want to come, because we want to take people in to help our farmers, etc. Very important. We're going to make that actually easier for them to help the farmers, because you need these people. No, you need these people. We're going to make it easier. I mean, I'm glad I told you that, because, you know, look, you're in that business, and a lot of people don't understand this. You need those. You need people to help you with the farms, and I'm not going to rule that out. I'm going to make that easier for them to come in and to work the farms. You've had some people for 20, 25 years. They're incredible. Then they go home, and they can't get back in. That's not going to happen. But we're keeping the wrong ones out, okay? We don't want the wrong ones coming into our country. And for that, it's going to be almost impossible to get in. For the people that work the farms, that have been here, that have gone through this very short but good process, that are going to help our country, it's going to be easier for them to get in than what they have to go through now. So just remember that. I know a lot about the farming world, and if I don't, Sonny teaches me. They explained that there is no substitute for a wall. These are the ICE people and the Border Patrol people, or a physical barrier. There is no substitute. Where a barrier exists, illegal crossings plummet dramatically. In El Paso, it was one of the most dangerous cities in the country. A wall was put up. It went from being one of the most dangerous cities in the country to one of the safest cities in the country overnight. Overnight. Does that tell you something? And I could give you many examples of that. They say it's medieval, a wall. It is medieval. So is a wheel. I always say a wheel. But every time I look out, they all have wheels. You know, they may have gone electric, and they may have done lots of different things. But every car I've seen still has wheels. Wheels work and walls work. You know, there are some things you can't beat. That's why we've asked Congress to fund a steel barrier, or whatever you want to call it. This barrier will stop illegal activity while directing lawful trade, travel, and commerce to our ports of entry. These ports are America's doors, but doors only work when you have strength. We need strength. Right now, we have weakness. They're forming a new caravan in Honduras. Honduras is not helping us. They could stop it. We send them hundreds of millions of dollars a year, El Salvador, Honduras, and other places, Guatemala. Hundreds of millions. But they don't help us like so many nations. We help them, they don't help us. We don't even get their votes often when we need their vote in the United Nations. They don't vote for us. Why? Because the wrong people are asking them. So those days are over. So I said just before I came, we're looking at a whole plan. Why are we sending them money if they're allowing caravans to form right in the middle of their cities? Why are we sending them money? A lot of changes have been made in this country in less than 2 years, I'll tell you that. A lot of changes, and really good changes. Changes that people like you with common sense and smarts fully understand. And that's why we're liking where we are, and the country is changing very rapidly for the better. As part of our overall border security plan, we have also asked Congress.
All right, folks. So we are getting very, very close to our very first part of the event that the president is going to have at the Oval Office. The Oval Office, President Trump is going to host a immigration swearing-in ceremony for new legal migrants that went through the system, paid their dues, paid the money, and now they're becoming U.S. citizens after 5 years of being green card holders. So these are people, migrants from other countries that did it the correct way, and this is what President Trump is talking about. This is what we need. We do need migrants, but we need them to come here legally. We need them to go through the system, pay their dues, and do the time, basically, in order for them to become Americans. So that should be coming in just a few minutes. Then right after that, from the Oval Office, also, both events are at the Oval Office. The second event is President Trump delivering his speech, his address to the nation. So make sure you guys please share this live stream on social media. You click that thumbs up button. That helps us out a lot. And also, thank you so much to everyone that has been donating and contributing through PayPal and through Super Chat and stuff like that. I apologize. I'm just making sure that everything running smoothly. I will, at the end of the video, I'll give you guys a quick thank you per name to everyone that has been contributing through Super Chat. So thank you so much for your continued support. Rastin James, thank you so much for your support through Super Chat. Again, I will be giving more shout outs of everyone that has been contributing to Golden State Time through Super Chat. I apologize that I didn't do it while you guys were, contributing, but I was making sure that the stream is running correctly and that we have the cameras going on at the White House and everything like that. So thank you so much again from the bottom of our hearts here at Golden State Times. I want to give a couple shout outs to people that are sharing our live stream on social media. If you guys share it on Facebook or on Twitter or on Gab, I'll give you guys a quick shout out as a thank you for sharing this live stream and helping us out. So I'm going to be giving quick shout outs real quick. Let's see. Come on. Sometimes Twitter likes to work and sometimes Twitter doesn't like to work. All right, here we go. So we got AMOR. Thank you so much. Honduras Amor. Thank you so much for your support and sharing the live stream. Scott Johnson, thank you so much for your support. Brandon, we also have, let's see here, we have Brandon. We have Trumpy, I think it's called. Trumpy, thank you so much. K. Kasmoot. I'm sorry, sometimes these are really hard. Kasmoose or Kasmouse? I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Also, Ivan Troy, thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Happy to be vegan, thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. We also have T. Rose, thank you so much. And we also have Sheepdog and Guy from Pittsburgh. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. Harold Faustino, thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. Let's see, who else do we have on here, folks? We have May and Alan. We also have here Love of Nature and Alicia. Drain the Swamp. And also, let's see, who else do we have? Trump Card, Francesca. And I think I saw another one here. Here we go, Craig. And I think that's it for right now. Here we go, Thomas and Artie World. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing the live stream on social media. The first event where President Trump from the Oval Office is going to host a swearing-in ceremony for new migrants. That's coming up first. And then right after that, a second after that, President Trump is going to deliver his address to the nation from the Oval Office. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. Thank you so much for choosing us as your stream of choice. Please share the live stream and click the thumbs up button, and I'll see you on the chat.
To approve cutting-edge technology to detect drugs. There's incredible technology today. So when these cars do come in through the ports of entry, you have technology today that's so incredible. We don't use it. We don't have it because our leaders decided not to spend the money. Well, you make it back every month, probably more than that, because the drugs coming through the southern border are destroying the fabric of our country. It's so bad. It's so bad. So we have to stop it. This technology is incredible. To fund more agents, we're putting that high on the list, officers. Beds, believe it or not, we're one of the only countries, I say one because every time I say something else, they'll say, oh, well, there was a country that also did it. Somebody comes into our country. They touch 1 foot on the ground, and we have to catch them. It's called catch. We then take their names, and we bring them to a court. Can you believe this? And we release them. But see, we're trying to do catch and hold, catch and not release. But you have to release. So we release. And they go into our country, and then you announce, these are the laws. Then you say, come back in 3 years for your trial. Tell me, what percentage of people come back? Would you say 100%? No, you're a little off. Like, how about 2%? And those people you almost don't want because they cannot be very smart. 2%.
All right, folks. So the first event is set to start in just a few minutes. I'm doing this because what happens most of the time is that we have two events of the president back to back. And then when one event, the president says, okay, now we're done with this, we're going to start something else. A lot of people leave because they think it's over when it's not. So again, this is an alert. The president is going to have two different events at the same exact time from the Oval Office in Washington, D.C. First, he's going to be part of a swearing-in ceremony for new immigrants, legal immigrants becoming U.S. citizens. They were green card holders. Now they're U.S. citizens. That's going to happen first. Right after that's done, then the president is going to deliver his speech to the nation regarding national security, the wall, immigration, everything like that in order to open up the government. So two events are happening, one after the other. So when one event ends, don't go anywhere because then you're going to miss the president's speech, the address to the nation that he's going to be doing. So stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. It should start very soon. We're very, very close to being allowed to turn on the cameras. So stay tuned. Please share the live stream, click the thumbs up button, and I'll see you soon. I meant to say, I'll see you guys in the chat.
2% come back. Those 2% are not going to make America great again. Crazy. So we have that. We have chain migration where somebody comes in and then his mother comes in, his father comes in, his grandmother comes in, his uncle comes in, his cousins come in. We had a guy, a radical Islamic terrorist in New York, area I know very well, driving down the West Side Highway, beautiful Hudson River to his right, built this gorgeous park all along the river. It's gorgeous. People are running. They're in great shape. We ought to hold some of these guys in the front row. They should do it with me. We could run. So some of my friends over there. Sonny, maybe Sonny and I will go take a jog. But you know what? I'll tell you, these are people that are great people, and they're running, and they keep it. And this horrible person going down 60 miles an hour down a highway decides, oh, that's nice, we'll make a right turn, hits a whole group of people purposely, screaming all sorts of things that they scream. And 8 people died, 12 or 13 were injured. Nobody talks about the injured. You know, some of the injured lost legs, lost arms. Or, you know, this is, they say, oh, well, 12 were injured. You know, like
all right,
injured,
folks, here we go. We have the
no,
first
no.
event.
They lost arms.
Give me a second. We have the first event here.
That I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law, that I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by the law, that I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law, and that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. All right, well, it is my privilege now to be the first to call you my fellow Americans. Upon taking the oath of allegiance, you have joined a nation of citizens, both naturalized and native-born, who are united by a belief in the rights guaranteed by the Constitution of our great nation. As you start your lives as United States citizens, I ask that you serve and contribute to your country as you fully meet your responsibilities and exercise the rights guaranteed to you as a citizen of the United States of America. I congratulate you on this milestone and welcome you as fellow citizens of this great country. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Begin by saying that, to the best of our knowledge, it goes back a long way, this is the first such swearing in that we've ever had in the Great Oval Office. So that's a pretty big honor right there. That's pretty good. Now, they may find something back 100 years ago, I don't know. But we looked and we couldn't find it. So, and please sit down, please. Secretary Nielsen, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And I am truly thrilled to welcome the 5 newest members of our great American family. That's what you are, American family. Thank you. You are now officially United States citizens. You have just earned the most prized possession anywhere in the world. We know that. There is no higher honor or greater privilege than becoming an American citizen. Our whole nation embraces you with open arms and joyful hearts, and I know that you will treasure this day forever. And it's my honor to be with you. I will say that. Each of you worked hard for this moment. You followed the rules, upheld our laws, and contributed to the strength and success and vitality of our nation. Now each of you stands here today before your proud and beaming families. Look at those families, huh? In the Oval Office of the White House. Very special place. I look and sometimes I say, wow, this is it, right? The Oval Office. So congratulations. I'd like to share a few brief words about each of our new citizens. Estabrook Adel Al-Sayed came with her husband to the United States. Please, that's a good idea. I wasn't going to do that, but I like that. Please. That's very nice. With her husband to the United States from Iraq in 2013. She is the proud mother of 2 children and is expecting a third. Since coming to America, she has become a teacher's assistant in our public schools, doing a fantastic job, I might add, preparing the next generation of young Americans to make the most of this magnificent country that she too now enjoys. And I want to just congratulate you, Estabrook. Thank you. Matthew Hemsley is from the United Kingdom. Thank you, Matthew. He is an Anglican pastor who came to the United States in 2006 and earned a master's degree from Gordon Conwell Seminary in North Carolina. Fine place. His grandmother was an American citizen whose ancestors first came to North America in 1637. That means you beat us. You beat all of them. As part of the Plymouth colony. Now the Hemsley family history in the United States is renewed, and the next chapter of their American story begins. Matthew, it's an honor. Great luck. Yoike Ong Choi is from South Korea and came to the United States in 1992 to pursue a master's degree. She earned a PhD from the University of Maryland and is now a professor at Azusa Pacific University. Her husband teaches statistics at George Mason, and it's a great school too, by the way. And they are proud parents of 2 sons. I want to congratulate you, and you're going to have a great time. Great time. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Being a member of the family. Robert Castle is from Jamaica and he immigrated to the United States in 2009 as the husband of a then active duty service member of the United States Army. Robert is a warehouse supervisor, a strong guy, a smart guy, and they have a beautiful 4-year-old son who was born here in the United States. Robert, congratulations. Thank you. Marcelo Ramos Ramirez is from Bolivia and has a beautiful, lawful, permanent resident of the United States and has been since 2013. He is the co-owner of a staffing company with his son, Marcio. The business is thriving, he's doing really well, and it's expanding in all different ways. He says, I know that in the United States you can achieve anything that you want, and I am a perfect example. In other words, he's making a lot of money. Marcelo, thank you very much. You're all the beginning of a new and extraordinary adventure. With the rights and freedoms you enjoy as Americans, there is nothing you cannot achieve. But citizenship is also a profound responsibility. Each year, over 700,000 new Americans take the oath and allegiance and inherit a legacy of liberty and justice that generations of Americans fought and died to secure. By taking this oath, you have forged a sacred bond with this nation, its traditions, its culture, and its values. This heritage is now yours to protect, promote, and pass down to the next generation and to the next wave of newcomers to our shores. Our history is now your history. Our traditions are now your traditions. And our Constitution is now yours to safeguard, celebrate, and cherish. As Americans and American citizens, we are bound together in love and loyalty and friendship and affection. We must look out for each other, care for each other, and always act in the best interests of our nation and all citizens living here today. We love each other, we're proud of each other. The beauty and majesty of citizenship is that it draws no distinctions of race or class or faith or gender or background. No matter where our story begins, whether we are the first generation or the 10th generation, we are all equal. We are one team and one people, proudly saluting one great American flag. Again, I want to congratulate you and welcome you to the family. It's a family. It's a beautiful family. It's a family doing very well. We're setting records economically. Our economy is the hottest in the world, and it's continuing and continuing upward. Our unemployment is the best it's been in more than 50 years, and for certain individuals, it's the best it's ever been historically. It will probably soon be now for everybody. It's an honor to have you. God bless you. God bless America. Congratulations. Thank you.
This is one of two events, folks. This is one of two events. The president is delivering his speech in just a second. Right after this, they are going to convene in the White House, in the Oval Office once again. This was not the national address to the nation. Again, this was not the national address to the nation. Here we go.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Previously from Bolivia, Marcelo Ramos Ramirez.
Welcome.
Previously from Jamaica, Robert Linford Castle. Previously from South Korea, Yu Kyung Choi. Previously from the United Kingdom, Matthew Walter David Hemsley. And previously from Iraq, Estabrook Adel Al-Sayed.
All right, folks, once again, that was not the State of the Union address. That was, the speech that the president was going to do from the Oval Office. This was just an event that has, for the very first time ever has happened at the Oval Office. So the event is happening right now, folks. So just give me a second. They said it was going to be 4 minutes from right now. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times, because President Trump's address to the nation is coming. They were doing two different events. They did the event of the swearing in for new migrants, and now they're doing the event for the speech to the nation regarding border security and the government shutdown. So that should start right now. So give it a second, folks.
One lost two legs. So 12 were horribly injured. And he's allowed to have his family come here. So they checked, and they said about 22 people came in, chain migration. In other words, because he's here, so a whole group of people come in. And we don't want that. We have another one, the lottery. The lottery. We take people from countries through the lottery. Now, this is common sense. Do you think the country is giving us their finest? No, they're not. No, they're not. They're giving us the opposite of their finest. We have a lottery system. Oh, let's pick him out. Oh, wonderful. Doesn't work out too well, this lottery system. But this is the law. This was passed by Democrats and I guess Republicans. Maybe they voted, who knows. But these are laws that have to be changed.
All right, folks, once again, the president's speech is set to start in 6 minutes. So this is your 5-minute warning, folks. 5-minute warning. The president's speech is starting in 5 minutes. So make sure you guys go get your coffees, go get your beers or whatever you guys want to drink, whatever you guys want to eat. Get your popcorn ready because it's set to begin. And this is going to be good, folks. This is going to be really good. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. Please share this live stream on social media. What you just watched was new legal migrants that went through the system, got a green card, waited 5 years to become a citizen, did everything correctly, and now they were sworn in as new legal migrants, U.S. citizens at the Oval Office. It has never happened before that we know of also. So this is historic for the president to do something like this in the Oval Office. But his speech is coming right now, folks. 5-minute warning. Thank you so much.
These are sick, demented laws that we have to change. We can't allow this to keep happening. The people that are sent to our country are not the people that we want. They come in through the lottery. They come in through chain migration. Think of it. This man that killed 8 people and so badly injured 12, they say he's got about 22 relatives coming in that are here. And take a look at how well his relatives are doing. It's not a good picture. So we have to change our laws. It's very hard because the Democrats don't want to change them. But I hope that common sense and people like this can persuade them, because it's gotten to a point where you have to. We really have no choice. And we're fighting hard. We're fighting very hard for you. We're making a lot of progress. I can tell you that. Here with us today is Jim Chilton from Arizona. Jim's ranch runs along the U.S.-Mexico border. The deadly, very deadly, Sinaloa cartel, one of the most vicious drug cartels anywhere in the world, runs a major drug trafficking route right through Jim's ranch. Many of these routes used to run through San Diego until the wall was built by us, by me. Sorry about that, Jim. I think Jim just got angry at me. He just heard that. Sorry, Jim. Because now what they did, they went to Jim's ranch. I think I cost him a lot of money. Maybe he won't stand up after all. But it's a very sad situation. In the last 2 years, the cameras on Jim's ranch have captured roughly 1,000 pictures of major drug packers, they call them. For years, these criminals have damaged Jim's property, injured his livestock, and started dozens of fires, which Jim estimates cost more than $2 million in 2017 alone. Last June, Border Patrol agent was checking sensors on the Clintons and Chilton's ranch when he was shot multiple times by these sinister drug traffickers, multiple times. And they don't even think about it. By the way, they shoot. It's not like, oh, gee, I committed a terrible thing. They don't even think about it. They don't even think. They wake up the next morning, they couldn't care less. As Jim said, every time I leave the ranch, my wife doesn't know whether I'll ever return. I'd like to ask Jim to come up and say a few words. Jim, please come up. Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Mr. President, we need a wall. I would say we need a wall all around, all the length of the border. We've got to stop the drug packers bringing drugs in to poison our people. And I would say to Speaker Pelosi, walls are not immoral. In fact, I've traveled around the world, and the biggest wall I've ever seen is around the Vatican. Now, you can't tell me that the wonderful priests and officials of the Roman Catholic Church, including the Pope, are immoral. They have a wall. Why can't we?
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. And I'm sorry for your problems, but we'll get it straightened out. The government remains shut down for one reason and one reason only. The Democrats will not fund border security, our safety, our national security. People come from many countries. When I was at the wall the other day, Border Patrol said they have 150 people they caught that day who weren't from Mexico. I said, that's a strange statement.
All right,
no,
folks, so we have footage from inside the White House where President Trump is going to be delivering his speech. Here we go. This is live footage what you see in front of you is live footage. The president should be coming out in just a second. Thank you so much for choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice. Please share this live stream. Again, this is live footage from the president's speech. As you guys can see, he's doing it at a room, one of the many beautiful rooms in the White House instead of the Oval Office like he did the last time. So this means that this is like a more official, more conventional way of him delivering. Hold on, give me 1 second here, folks. Give me a second here. All right, I'm just trying to make sure everything is running correctly for you folks. All right, here we go. So this is a more conventional way, and this is the type of scenario that happens when something big is going to happen. Are you guys going to remember the last time when he shooted missiles into Syria and stuff like that? This is where he was talking about it. This is where he announced to the American people his intent and what he did. So the importance of him doing this type of speech in this room is very, very important. It's very crucial when he makes when a president delivers a speech from the Oval Office, but that's more to address to the American people what is happening. This type of background, doing the speech in this room is more about what he's actually planning to do. So make sure you guys please share this live stream on social media. Thank you so much for your continued support. All right, folks, so I'm going to be putting the hot mic on, and I'll see you guys in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
Are we supposed to be quiet in here?
I dropped mine on the quiet. Sure.
All right, folks. So we want to do a quick poll on the chat. Do you guys think that the president is going to announce that he is willing to approve the Bridge Act in exchange for the border wall funding? Press 1 on the chat if you guys think that will happen. Press 2 if you guys think that's not going to happen.
If you can lean out a little more, that'd be great. Me? I'm kidding. You're just gonna be up front, man. Okay, okay. It's all fine. It's fine.
All right, folks. So it should be starting in any second right now. Thank you for choosing us as your stream of choice. It should start very, very soon right now. Just give me a second while I fix something real quick, just to make sure. Oh, here we go.
Just a short time ago, I had the honor of presiding over the swearing in of 5 new great American citizens. It was a beautiful ceremony and a moving reminder of our nation's proud history of welcoming legal immigrants from all over the world into our national family. I told them that the beauty and majesty of citizenship is that it draws no distinctions of race or class or faith or gender or background. All Americans, whether first generation or 10th generation, are bound together in love and loyalty, friendship and affection. We are all equal. We are one team and one people, proudly saluting one great American flag. We believe in a safe and lawful system of immigration, one that upholds our laws, our traditions, and our most cherished values. Unfortunately, our immigration system has been badly broken for a very long time. Over the decades, many presidents and many lawmakers have come and gone, and no real progress has been made on immigration. We are now living with the consequences, and they are tragic, brought about by decades of political stalemate, partisan gridlock, and national neglect. There is a humanitarian and security crisis on our southern border that requires urgent action. Thousands of children are being exploited by ruthless coyotes and vicious cartels and gangs. 1 in 3 women is sexually assaulted on the dangerous journey north. In fact, many loving mothers give their young daughters birth control pills for the long journey up to the United States because they know they may be raped or sexually accosted or assaulted. Nearly 50 migrants a day are being referred for urgent medical care. Vast quantities of lethal narcotics are flooding through our border and into our communities, including meth, cocaine, heroin, and fentanyl. Drugs kill 78,000 Americans a year and cost our society in excess of $700 billion. Heroin alone kills 300 Americans a week, 90% of which comes across our southern border. We can stop heroin. Illegal immigration reduces wages and strains public services. The lack of border control provides a gateway, a very wide and open gateway, for criminals and gang members to enter the United States, including the criminal aliens who murdered a brave California police officer only a day after Christmas. I've gotten to know and love angel moms, dads, and family who lost loved ones to people illegally in our country. I want this to end. It's got to end now. These are not talking points. These are the heartbreaking realities that are hurting innocent, precious human beings every single day on both sides of the border. As a candidate for president, I promised I would fix this crisis, and I intend to keep that promise one way or the other. Our immigration system should be the subject of pride, not a source of shame, as it is all over the world. Our immigration system should be the envy of the world, not a symbol of disunity and dysfunction. The good news is these problems can all be solved, but only if we have the political courage to do what is just and what is right. Both sides in Washington must simply come together, listen to each other, put down their armor, build trust, reach across the aisle, and find solutions. It is time to reclaim our future from the extreme voices who fear compromise and demand open borders, which means drugs pouring in, human trafficking, and a lot of crime. That is why I am here today, to break the logjam and provide Congress with a path forward to end the government shutdown and solve the crisis on the southern border. If we are successful in this effort, we will then have the best chance in a very long time at real bipartisan immigration reform. And it won't stop here. It will keep going until we do it all. The proposal I will outline today is based on, first and foremost, on input from our border agents and Homeland Security professionals, and professionals they are. They know what they're doing. It is a compassionate response to the ongoing tragedy on our southern border. In recent weeks, we have met with large numbers of Democrat lawmakers to hear their ideas and suggestions. By incorporating the priorities of rank-and-file Democrats in our plan, we hope they will offer their enthusiastic support, and I think many will. This is a common-sense compromise both parties should embrace. The radical left can never control our borders. I will never let it happen. Walls are not immoral. In fact, they are the opposite of immoral because they will save many lives and stop drugs from pouring into our country. Our plan includes the following: $800 million in urgent humanitarian assistance, $805 million for drug detection technology to help secure our ports of entry, an additional 2,750 border agents and law enforcement professionals, 75 new immigration judge teams to reduce the court backlog of, believe it or not, almost 900,000 cases. However, the whole concept of having lengthy trials for anyone who sets one foot in our country unlawfully must be changed by Congress. It is unsustainable. It is ridiculous. Few places in the world would even consider such an impossible nightmare. Our plan includes critical measures to protect migrant children from exploitation and abuse. This includes a new system to allow Central American minors to apply for asylum in their home countries and reform to promote family reunification for unaccompanied children, thousands of whom wind up on our border doorstep. To physically secure our border, the plan includes $5.7 billion for a strategic deployment of physical barriers, or a wall. This is not a 2,000-mile concrete structure from sea to sea. These are steel barriers in high-priority locations. Much of the border is already protected by natural barriers such as mountains and water. We already have many miles of barrier, including 115 miles that we are currently building or under contract. It will be done quickly. Our request will add another 230 miles this year in the areas our border agents most urgently need. It will have an unbelievable impact. If we build a powerful and fully designed see-through steel barrier on our southern border, the crime rate and drug problem in our country would be quickly and greatly reduced. Some say it could be cut in half. Because these criminals, drug smugglers, gangs, and traffickers do not stop at our border. They permeate throughout our country, and they end up in some places where you'd least expect them. They go all over our country. A steel barrier will help us stop illegal immigration while safely directing commerce to our lawful ports of entry. Many of these security ideas have been proposed by Democrats themselves, and all of them have been supported by Democrats in the past, including a physical barrier wall or fence. Furthermore, in order to build the trust and goodwill necessary to begin real immigration reform, there are two more elements to my plan. Number one is 3 years of legislative relief for 700,000 DACA recipients brought here unlawfully by their parents at a young age many years ago. This extension will give them access to work permits, Social Security numbers, and protection from deportation, most importantly. Secondly, our proposal provides a 3-year extension of temporary protected status, or TPS. This means that 300,000 immigrants whose protected status is facing expiration will now have 3 more years of certainty so that Congress can work on a larger immigration deal, which everybody wants, Republicans and Democrats. And our farmers and vineyards won't be affected because lawful and regulated entry into our country will be easy and consistent. That is our plan. Border security, DACA, TPS, and many other things. Straightforward, fair, reasonable, and common sense with lots of compromise. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has pledged to bring this bill to a vote this week in the United States Senate. Our proposal is not intended to solve all of our immigration challenges. This plan solves the immediate crisis, and it is a horrible crisis. It is a humanitarian crisis like we rarely see in our country. And it provides humanitarian relief, delivers real border security, and immediately reopens our federal government. If we are successful in this effort, then we can start the border project of remaking our immigration system for the 21st century. Once the government is open and we have made a down payment on border security and immigration reform starts to happen, I plan to convene weekly bipartisan meetings at the White House so we can do a finished product, a great product, a product that we can all be proud of having to do with that elusive immigration problem. Whatever we do, I can promise you this: I will never forget that my first duty and ultimate loyalty is to you, the American people. Any reforms we make to our immigration system will be designed to improve your lives, make your community safer, and make our nation more prosperous and secure for generations to come. Thank you, and God bless America. Thank you.
Path to citizenship, Mr. President. You supported a path to citizenship last year, Mr. President.
All right, folks, thank you very much for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice. Like I said before, what he basically outlined was the Bridge Act. That's exactly what he outlined. And if you were here since before, very early on, you guys might remember that I was talking about the Bridge Act, and I was explaining what the Bridge Act was and what it did. And here, let me just really quickly before we sign off here, let me just talk a little bit about the Bridge Act, which is exactly what the president just spoke about. And we'll go on from there. So give me a second as I get everything ready here. There's so many things that I have to do. So I try to do it as fast as I can, folks, but hold on. All right. So where is it? The Bridge Act. Oh, I thought I had it. Okay, give me 1 second, folks. Okay, so the Bridge Act, these are the requirements. What the Bridge Act means is bar removal for individuals who dream and grow our economy. That's what it's called. It was introduced by Lindsey Graham and Dick Durbin in 2017. It is a bipartisan legislation whose intent is to allow people who are eligible for or who have related work authorization and a temporary relief from deportation through DACA or through TPS. So those people that are on DACA or TPS are going to be allowed to stay a little bit longer, 3-year maximum, but there's a lot of rules and regulations that you have to go through. And the thing about it, that the difference between now and before is that before, with Obama, he would see that some people didn't qualify, but he'll look the other way. President Trump is not going to do that. That's not what this is about. The president wants to make sure that the people that are going to apply deserve to be here and are going to be here for the benefit of the United States. So there's a lot of rules and requirements. I spoke about it before, but if you want more information on that, I will be making a video later on about the Bridge Act. So make sure you guys stay tuned and you guys check it out. That way you guys know exactly what the president was talking about. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell. That way you guys can get a heads up when that video comes out later on today. We're going to be talking about and extensively talking about the Bridge Act, what it is, and what kind of people are going to be applying for it. And if it passes, would it get both Democrat and Republican support? Again, this legislation was passed by Lindsey Graham and Dick Durbin. They are the ones that put it on the floor. They're the ones that were pushing for it. Lindsey Graham was at the White House just a few days ago for this exact reason, because he was trying to make sure that the president knew the ins and out of the Bridge Act. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times, and we're going to be discussing the Bridge Act with you guys, and I hope that you guys join us. My name is Jen from Golden State Times, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much to the moderators for keeping the chat clean and enjoyable for everyone. You guys are amazing. And also thank you all those that shared the live stream on social media, and also everyone that contributed to Golden State Times. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We're going to get ready to start that video regarding the Bridge Act so you guys can stay informed of what it is and what the president was talking about. And I'll see you soon. Peace.